A Roman temple dedicated to the Greek god Zeus is providing shelter to displaced Syrians.
Both gods and humans honor Zeus, the powerful god of the sky and thunder, as the king of all gods. Many years ago, worshippers of Zeus built temples on Earth that were believed to connect to the heavens. But as time passed, people lost track of where these special temples were. Recently, scientists made an incredible discovery. They found and opened Zeus's temple, a magnificent ancient building that had been closed for 2,500 years. Let's explore how scientists uncovered Zeus' mythical temple. The Temple of Zeus, also known as the Olympieion, or columns of the Olympian Zeus, is located in Greece and is one of the most significant ancient temples in the world. Built in Athens, the capital of Greece, this structure was built to honor Zeus, the king of gods. As such, it glorifies Greek mythology. It was intended to be the greatest monument ever built to the supreme deity. It had 104 columns and a colossal gilded statue of Zeus's arm teeth, 17 meters high and 2 meters wide inside. These columns are all that remains of its once glorious existence. Everything changed, however, in 2023, after some striking news broke about it. When doing a routine excavation near the temple, a group of archaeologists led by Professor Maria Costas stumbled upon an underground chamber through a secret door. A massive stone door bearing Zeus's lightning bolt sealed off this chamber, which is part of its foundation. Spellbound, awestruck archaeologists resolved to open that door to see into the interior part of that room, only to make an astonishing find. When the archaeologists realized they had discovered something fascinating, they immediately prepared to enter the chamber and investigate. The archaeologists carefully entered the room by wearing their helmets and safety suits, but they were shocked by what they saw as soon as they arrived. A few lights gave the room a soft glow, and it contains many historical artifacts and writings. But the most talked about item was the steel disc propelled into the sky by a mysterious force. The smooth surface of the disc reflected light and was about 3 meters in diameter. The tools came from all over, like the future tools in the old church. The bright light spread out in a curved pattern, casting a holographic image on the wall behind the pedestal. The painting shows the royal figure wearing a crown and a thunderbolt on his sleeve. To everyone's surprise, Zeus, the patron god of the temple, was there. The man they saw spoke to them in ancient Greek in a voice of command and authority. Archaeologists could recognize his power and presence even if they could not understand his words. It dawned upon them that they had cast a device designed to accompany Zeus, or at least his image. Zeus's face and voice shocked and frightened the archaeologist. They had few words or actions to say. They began to wonder if their actions were a curse, a blessing, or a trap. They wondered if their god had aroused anger, favor, or indifference, and began questioning whether they had unleashed a force outside their imagination or jurisdiction. The team of archaeologists turned away, looking for guidance or solutions. The disc was examined for cause and effect and investigated. They wanted to know what the picture meant. They looked around the room for signs of danger or open areas. Shortly after the experience, they decided to stay awake and alert and write down what they heard and saw. They took out their cameras and microphones and began recording what they saw. In addition, they pulled out their tapes and translators and tried to translate Zeus from ancient Greek. They aimed to identify any objects or clues to understand the situation and the technology being developed. It didn't take them long to realize that Zeus was speaking to someone else instead of them. He spoke to a long-dead man who had constructed the apparatus and the room. He was giving him accolades for his talent, devotion, and gift to God. In addition, he warned and rewarded him. He was giving him a peek into the workings of the divine plan and will and the secrets and mysteries of the cosmos. Additionally, he was instructing him to conceal and safeguard the gadget and the chamber. He warned him not to put the device in the wrong hands or use it improperly, because it was a holy and hazardous instrument. What the archaeologists heard surprised and thrilled them. They discovered a long-lost, top-secret project involving a divine assistant, and a human scientist. They realized they had found a tool to reveal, hide, illuminate, and destroy. It was shocking and threatening. They realized that the room was endowed with the power of blessings and curses to act as a refuge and a prison, or perhaps the power that filled the room could lead to the end of the world. Entering the room the second time, the archaeologists were shocked by what they saw again. A stone leg supporting a metallic disc about 3 meters in diameter and 10 centimeters in diameter was found lying in the center of the room. This metallic disc had an intricately carved design on the surface that was touched by lines, circles, and a central circle around it. The disc was attached to a network of tubes and cables that extended over the chamber's roof and walls. A ring of metal rods resembling a cage encircled the disc. According to the archaeologists, the disc produced a low humming sound and felt slightly warm to the touch. Additionally, they saw that the disc had a little hole in the middle that appeared to be a hole for something. The disc confused and fascinated archaeologists. They wanted to know the nature, purpose, and relationship between Zeus and his temple. They speculated that a chakra might be a device, tool, or weapon powered by magnetism or electricity. In addition, they wondered if the wheel was a representation or image of something else, such as the earth, the sky, or the cosmos. The chakra was also thought of as a gift, relic, or message from another entity, such as gods, aliens, or ancient people. This metallic disc also appeared to defy logic and the laws of physics, unlike anything they had ever seen. How could a metal thing resist rusting or degrading for so long? Without a visible energy source, how could it produce sound and heat? How could it have such a precise and sophisticated design without any tools or technological advancements? How could it have such a hidden and enigmatic function without a description or guidance? The mysterious discovery brought to mind other ancient objects that have fascinated and amazed people throughout history, such as the Nebra Galaxy, the Baghdad Battery, and the Antikythera system. These objects had their origins, were used in mysticism, and were made of metal. Even accepted scientific and historical theories were challenged and found in unexpected places and times. The disc's connection to Zeus's temple and the god himself baffled the archaeologists. They recalled that Zeus was often depicted holding lightning as the king of the sky and thunder. They also remembered that Zeus served in many myths as the patron saint of heroes and kings. They wondered if the mill was honoring Zeus, giving him a gift, or denouncing him. One of the wonders of the ancient world is the statue of Zeus that once stood in the temple. They wondered if the wheel had anything to do with it. They questioned whether the wheel held any power, mystery, or message. As they went further into the room, they saw a lot of wondrous signs. The scientists soon realized the room was not ordinary, but a maze with many hallways and inner rooms. Also, the room was found to be not only an informal space, but also a sanctuary with many symbols and ritual practices. They also realized that the building was not an isolated place, but a heritage rich in history and information. The room was also found to be part of a larger corridor leading to the church's basement and beyond. The building served many purposes and was seen by different people on different days. It turned out that the building was a sacred place, protected from all and known only to a select few. Researchers discovered that the structure was built by a mysterious and ancient group called the Sons of Zeus. They found that the system included priests, teachers, and architects who studied and worshipped Zeus. The organization was found to be a powerful secret society with connections and influence in many industries. This system was found to be responsible for the creation and preservation of the wheel, among many other marvels. They understood that the Institute had access to and knew most of the secrets and mysteries of nature and the supernatural world. They understood the organization's purpose was to discover and access the truth about the higher power. They realized that the system had centuries of history and was the destiny of the entire continent. They realized this system was surrounded by gods and goblins, kings and emperors, heroes and villains, They saw the order as having responsibility, a role in creation and destruction, peace and war, salvation and revelation. They saw that the disk was not just a thing, it was a tool that played an important role in their planning and purpose. They saw that the wheel was not just a tool but a portal to an unknown source and destination that they and the world could not see. They saw that the wheel was not just a door but a portal to infinitely great power and danger for anyone and everything. They pondered the disk's potential and what the order intended to accomplish. They were curious about what the disk would reveal and what the order aimed to accomplish. They pondered what the disk and the sequence might be concealing. They could not decide whether to follow or control them. They debated whether to use the wheel or destroy it. They couldn't decide whether they should respect the wheel or fear it. They consider the consequences of turning the wheel. A bronze mechanism called the Antikythera mechanism was found in a shipwreck off the Greek island of Antikythera in 1901. It had several gears and dials that could be used to calculate the positions and movement of the sun, moon, and planets from the 1st century BC. It was considered the first analog computer in history and demonstrated the great advancement of ancient Greek mathematical skills. In 1936, a clay barrel called the Baghdad Battery was discovered in Iraq. It consisted of an iron rod and a copper pole that could be filled with acidic water to produce a simple electric current. It is said to have been built in the 3rd and 4th centuries CE. This was thought to be the first electric battery, providing evidence for the possible existence of electricity in prehistory. A bronze disc called the Nebra Sky Wheel was discovered in Germany in 1999. It had gold symbols representing the sun, moon, and stars, dating back to the 16th or 15th century BC, reflecting the advanced understanding of astrology and the religious beliefs of prehistoric Europeans. Questions arose about whether the archaeological wheels in the Temple of Zeus were related to any of these objects or something separate and unique. It was thought that the wheels might adapt to something longer and be established in the modern world or reveal something new and interesting in the ancient world. Whether the wheel holds the answer to a great puzzle or is a mystery. The archaeologists sought further information about the Temple of Zeus and its builders. Documents, books, and artifacts were consulted to provide insight into the history and intended use of the wheel. In addition, they sought advice from ancient Greek religious and cultural experts, historians, and scholars. After receiving some interesting information, they learned more about the temple and its significance. They found that the temple was built by various princes and architects, each with their own aims and objectives. Pisistratus was a tyrant who ruled Athens in the 6th century BC. He intended to build a temple in honor of Zeus and to gain legitimacy. The church was built in the Doric style and was commissioned by 4 architects: Antistates, Calescras, Antimachides, and Formos. It had 2 columns and a wide platform. Hippias and Hipparchus, sons of Pisistratus, built the temple when their father visited it. Their goal was to build a temple that would be larger and larger than even the great ancient temples, the Temple of Hera in Samos and the Temple of Artemis in Ephesus. Another architect, Cossutius, was appointed to build a temple in the Corinthian style with many ornaments and columns. Hippias and Hipparchus were expelled in a democratic revolt, and the church was left unfinished and abandoned. 2 centuries ago, Syrian Prince Antiochus IV attempted to build the temple a second time. His goal during his reign was to unite the Greek world and establish a temple to Zeus. A Corinthian-style temple with 104 columns and a colossal statue of Zeus had been built when he employed the same architect, Cossutius. However, his successors lost enthusiasm and support for the effort when Antiochus died before the temple was completed. In the 2nd century, Hadrian, the Roman emperor, made a third and final attempt to build the temple. In addition to honoring Zeus, he wanted to build a temple to commemorate his interest in Greece and its culture. He commissioned another architect, Phidias, to complete the Corinthian temple structure, which included 104 columns and a new statue of Zeus. He built alongside the temple the bath chamber, the portico, and the wall that served as the entrance to the stronger one. In addition, he built 2 small temples, one dedicated to the Greek god Zeus Panhellenios, and the other to Zeus's parents, Kronos and Rhea. In an underground cavern beneath the temple, he also installed a metal disc that was carved with spirals and circles. He declared that the disc had been given to him by Zeus himself and had power and a secret message. He declared that the chamber and the disc were only accessible to him and his successors, and that when the time was appropriate, they would expose the power and the message. The disc, he claimed, was the greatest homage to the highest god and held the key to both the temple and the universe. Hadrian's story excited and amazed archaeologists. Whether or not it was genuine or related to the discovery of the disc was debated. They questioned why Hadrian and his successors kept the power and message of the wheel secret. It was questioned whether Zeus or someone else gave them the disc. They wondered if the wheel held someone else's key, or the key to the temple and the universe. They had no answers to many of their questions. The archaeologists also decided to continue examining the statue of Zeus placed earlier in the temple for references and details. They consulted literature, visual images, and archaeological evidence that could explain the nature and meaning of the image. They sought advice from ancient Greek craftsmen, scholars, and historians. They learned more about the statue's history and significance while learning other surprising details. The statue was found to be one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the most impressive collection of ancient buildings and monuments. The Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, the statue of Artemis at Ephesus in Turkey, the tomb of Halicarnassus in Turkey, the Colossus of Rhodes in Greece, the Lighthouse of Alexandria in Egypt, the city, and the Hanging Garden of Babylon, Iraq, are 6 other wonders. The only odd thing in a building depicting a god is a statue of Zeus. It was also identified as the work of Phidias, the famous sculptor responsible for the statue of Athena found in the Parthenon, at the Temple of War and Wisdom on the Acropolis in Athens. He was known for his statues in ivory and gold, 2 precious and exotic materials. To create a dramatic and authentic look, he used chryselephantine, which covered the inside of the frames with thin layers of ivory and gold. They also found that the statue is an entire prison cell, the temple room where the worship image of the deity is placed, and it is large and impressive. The monument is about 12 meters high and lies on its throne, which is about 6 meters by 10 meters wide. The throne was made of cedar and adorned with precious stones, ebony, ivory, and gold. They featured figurines of plants and animals and mythological figures, such as griffins, lions, owls, and sphinxes. It also depicted elements of Greek mythology, such as the meditation of Heracles, the birth of Athena, and the judgment of Paris. The statue showed Zeus seated on a throne with an image of the goddess of victory, Nike in his right hand and a royal scepter in his left, with a golden mantle over his shoulders and a wreath of olive branches on his head. His beady eyes had philosophers, a genuine and expressive aspect, and his expression was calm and peaceful. His golden hair and beard flowed down his back and chest. Ivory covered her body, exposing her muscles and ligaments. He had bandages around his waist and boots around his feet. This statue represented the peace and unity of the Greek people and the power and glory of Zeus. Many people from the Mediterranean Sea came to see and worship Zeus and honor his image. This image has inspired many poets, philosophers, and artists who have admired its grandeur and beauty. Some people found the picture provocative and embarrassing, sparking backlash and confrontation. Some people thought this image had magical and mystical qualities, adding to its mystery and wonder. This image was considered a miracle and a work of art, with many symbolic implications in the ancient world. The statue was found to be a treasure, and many guards and spoilers followed, asking questions, along with many lovers and enemies. The statue itself was found to be a puzzle, filled with many stories, secrets, questions, and answers. The content and technique of the painting were questioned. They wanted to know how and why the statue was broken, namely, whether the images were related or if the statue could be replicated as a whole or part. Zeus is one of the most famous and powerful gods of ancient Greek religion and mythology. The god of sky, lightning, thunder, and justice lives on Mount Olympus, the highest mountain in Greece, where he rules over other gods and goddesses. He is the father of many heroes and gods, including Hercules, Perseus, Apollo, and Athena. He was not always the king of the gods. Found between Cronus and Rhea, the leaders of the first god generation Titans. Cronus feared that one of his children would throw him out, so he swallowed them all as soon as they were born. This angered Rhea, so she hid Zeus in her cave and instead gave Cronus a stone wrapped in cloth to swallow. He grew up in secrecy until he was old enough to criticize his father. He brought his brothers from the womb of Cronus and led them in the Titanomachy against the Titans. After a long, hard battle, Zeus and his allies defeated the Titans and imprisoned them in a dark place called Tartarus. Zeus then divided the world between his brothers, Poseidon and Hades. Zeus got the sky, Poseidon got the sea, and Hades got the underworld. He is known to have many adventures with and interact with various mortal and immortal women. He often changed his character to attract them, such as a dog, a cow, a golden bat, or a human. He had many children from these relationships, each with different abilities and capabilities. Some of them became gods and goddesses, such as Apollo, the sun and music god, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Dionysus, the god of wine and carnival. Some of them became heroes and kings, like Hercules, the strongest man in the world, Perseus, slayer of Medusa, and Minos, ruler of Crete and lord of the Minotaur. He is also known to play a role in many myths and legends, where he often intervened in the affairs of humans and other creatures. He gave the fire to Prometheus and stole the Titans from the gods to give to men. He punished Prometheus for his actions, chaining him to a rock and sending a frog to eat his liver daily. He sent the flood to destroy the evil race of mankind, except for Deucalion and Pyrrha, who stoned back after him, and the earth was reborn. He was the Trojan prince, Paris of Sparta. He, who started the Trojan War by falling in love with Menelaus's wife Helen, was the one who helped the Greeks win the war through his son, Hermes, the angel, the god whom he sent to guide them. He is passionate and strong, representing both human nature's positive and negative aspects. He is kind and just, but he is jealous and vindictive. She's smart and powerful, but also impulsively sexy. He protects the weak and persecutes the strong. He is the source of life, but also the cause of death. He is the god of the sky and the lord of the earth. He is Zeus, king of the gods and father of all. Archaeologists and scientists who opened the temple and discovered the chakra are trying to answer many questions, such as, what is the message and power of the chakra, and who are the chosen ones? What is the purpose and function of the wheel, and how is it connected to the temple and Zeus? What will happen if the chakra is activated, and how will it manifest? There is also a hidden and ancient order that calls itself the Children of Zeus, claiming to be the descendants and heirs of the god. They have a teacher and leader who is the greatest and last son of Zeus, knows the secrets and inner workings of the wheel and temple, and holds the spear and key to turn the wheel and release its power and message. What is the purpose and structure of the program, and what are their responsibilities and positions within it? We also have a vision of the master and the leader, what their mission is, and what their secrets are. What will he do with wheels and their power? What will it do or spoil? Scientists and archaeologists who opened the temple and discovered the wheel are trying to answer some of these questions. However, they may arrive too late and knock the order and its head off, leaving them helpless to save the planet from orbit and its energies. Sealed and untouched for 2,000 years, the disk may hold the secrets of ultimate power and truth, or the keys of ultimate doom and death. The disk is strange and terrifying. It can be a gateway to heaven or hell. The disk, the gift, and the curse may be the final, complete tribute to Zeus, the greatest of all the gods. Thank you for watching. Let's hear your thoughts about these discoveries. Also, like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting adventures. Stay tuned for more.